Oh, you're recording this? Everybody knows that I'm Bookie Pants McGee now?
Absolutely. This is now recording, and I'd like to say this is the first of many ABCD staff choice half an hours. So it's a hurrah! It's a wonderful start. Once a month we're going to do this, and we're going to discuss all of the newest books in the shop, and also what various colleagues suggest as being their tips for you to do that. In fact, I'm looking like I'm in the shop now, as you can see. It's all very, very festive.
With a kind of like a fuzzy aura around you. Yes,
that's right. Yes. You know, I've had a few coffees, so it's doing me in a bit. I'm going to start off actually, Tiemen, if I may, just because I think that this was a bit of a not a small time, but a big time thing.
Before you start, perhaps you should introduce yourself and us.
Oh, that's true, actually. Yes. Should I do that? I introduced this, but I didn't introduce a classic mistake.
Luke, who are you? Introduce yourself to the audience.
Well, I tell you what, you introduce me and I'll introduce you.
Oh, okay. Well, Luke is kind of like the the old guy at the American Book Center.
Yeah, maybe this wasn't a good idea.
Yeah, because you've been working for about 25 now.
Years, yes, very long, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember like when I first visited the American Book Center at the Kalverstraat, you were already there. So Luke is my lovely colleague who works on the first floor mostly. And you're the buyer for the all the books related about the Netherlands, Holland.
Yep.
You're always chatting with customers when they come in. Let's see, you used to do the game novels, I think.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, and the game art and things like that. And these days you're also our technical Zoom host wizard.
I indeed am. I don't happen to have my Zoom wizard hat on, but you can imagine, what it would look like.
I refer to you today as our resident Zoom king.
I like the Zoom king.
Yeah, it sounds good.
I need a trident, I think, and.
Ooh.
No, that's a god. Then you would like the Zoom Poseidon, I guess.
Poseidon? Wait a minute. That's I'm not sure about that.
The Greek god of the sea. He has a trident. Yeah. So
I can't. I don't know. I could. We can work this out. We can.
Little scepter.
Yeah. All right then. Thank you, Tiemen.
Yes.
I should say about Tiemen. He's over there actually for me. And he's got amazing haircut. It probably looks like mine when he gets my age. But in fact, he's even wearing the same color. We're very coordinated tonight.
Indeed.
You've been working now for 10 years by the American Book Center?
11 years now, I think, already.
11? Gosh, yes. Booty Pants is shocked. And she's going to regret that so much. You've been a force from the beginning, really. After I think Karen moved out of the science fiction fantasy, you took it over.
Yeah, Karen was the former science fiction buyer, and
the very section behind me. Yes, one of the biggest sections in the store, and one of the biggest science fiction fantasy sections, as we've understood, of the whole of Europe, including England, which is pretty.
Yeah, I'm not sure about England, because I was in London before lockdown.
In the old days.
In the old days, and they had some impressive bookshops. But I'm fairly certain, like continental Europe, that we got the biggest sci-fi and fantasy.
That for sure, yeah. London does have amazing large bookshops, but it's again whether they have specific science fiction fantasy, because our thing is that we have English language books, we have British books, and we have books from America, and we can get from both. Which even in London they don't always have the American copies, which we can. That's
like always so funny, because like always a debate, like when new books come out, do I get the UK cover or shall I get the US cover? Now I'm slightly biased towards the US cover because that's more like my personal taste. But I always get, like, if I choose one, I always know there will always be a customer who goes like, oh, you got that one, but do you also have the UK cover, or vice versa?
Yes, I can order it for you.
Yeah.
Take a week. Well, these days it won't, but normally it would. Yeah, indeed. And actually, but in the last couple of years, Tiemen, you've been working also behind the scenes, as in the events team.
Yep.
And putting various events together, rather large ones as well over the years, haven't you? You got involved in the in Utrecht, the
Dutch Comic Con.
Yes, Comic Con, which again this year has been delayed and stuff like that. Is there any news about when it's going to start up or not yet?
Well, for now it's November. So yeah, they've been very, very unlucky, the guys at Dutch Comic Con, because like I had to postpone it like now 3 or 4 times already. So hopefully this is going to be the charm, and this one is going to be like everyone is vaccinated and we can finally like just hug each other in real life again. So hopefully, yeah. But yeah, the American Book Center has been like a fixed future of the Dutch Comic Con for years now. So actually, since it started, we had a pop-up bookshop over there, and we helped setting up panels and inviting guest authors. Because, like,
indeed, yeah, we had the son of Stephen King.
Yeah, Joe Hill. Yeah,
Joe Hill, among others.
He visited the shop, and then I made the mistake of mentioning, oh, we have a grass roof. And 5 minutes later, he was standing on the grass roof, which was like...
Oh, that was him?
Yeah, that was him. And I was like, and he was like, oh, this is so cool. And I was like, please get down, because I don't want to be the one responsible for
killing Joe Hill.
Yeah.
It would be good. Yeah. His father could write a story about it.
Yeah. Like Joe Hill hunting a bookseller.
Yeah. But I was thinking we've got actually the first book that I can neatly fold into this from Max. Where is he? There were games. We had games. Oh, I don't have it on the list. Oh well, forget it. I'll find it later on. It was a game book he gave me, and it's not on the list. We'll get back to it.
Well, actually, I have a game book that I'm fairly excited about.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't have it with me because we didn't yet get it in.
I'll look it up.
Okay, but it's the new Dungeons and Dragons book, Candlekeep Mysteries.
Could be the one I was thinking about, actually.
Oh, that could be. Because
is that
Max...
the bookish one?
Sorry?
Is that the bookish one, like D&D for book nerds?
Yeah. Because like when I was younger, I played quite a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, but for reasons my group is now kind of like dormant, I guess. So I haven't played Dungeons and Dragons for a while. But when I saw the description of this one, Candlekeep Mysteries, I was like, ooh, that sounds very interesting. Maybe I should restart the group again, because Candlekeep is like a mythical. It's like a huge library in the world of Dungeons and Dragons, and the Candlekeep Mysteries book is, I think, if I recall correctly, about 15 or 16 adventures, ranging from level 1 beginner to level 16 advanced. And the cool thing is that each and every story starts around a book found in the library. So. Kind of like as a bookseller, well, I already love books and I like playing Dungeons and Dragons. So Dungeons and Dragons volume revolving about books, that's like Venn diagram all over. It's so I'm very I am curious about this one.
Okay, Candlekeep Mysteries. I'm just looking it up so we can see whether we've got that. What time? When do we expect that to come in, Tiemen?
Well, hopefully next week, because it's on order.
Yes. Let me just share my screen, and where are we? Here. Yeah. It kind of looks like that. You guys can.
There we go. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Great books hide their secrets well.
Dun dun dun. Indeed. Okay. So we should be waiting for that in the coming month. Okay. So let's let me just stop sharing. Let's go for a book that. Well, let's go for a book that we have in store, and that is to get back to old Russell. Sorry.
Oh yes, yeah.
The magicness of this. It's like, and there it was. Small time, because we had a massively successful event online this week with Russell Shorto. Very generously came and did an interview, and with none other than Arnold Grunberg, who was doing the interviewing. So that was crazy good, and that's also going to be on YouTube shortly, and so you can see it back as well. But this is about Russell's. Russell Shorto is actually known for most famously for Island at the Center of the World, being about New York, and that is actually has been an ABC favorite, and Amsterdam, which was, of course, New York and Amsterdam. Amsterdam was New Amsterdam before, and it is an ABC favorite still, somewhere around there. Mm-hmm. So, and of course, that's my section, so I'm very happy. to have met Russell actually at last, because I've sold so many of his books before. And then the latest one is about Small Time, is about his own personal history, because he found out, or he knew, that his granddad was in the mafia. So Small Time is referring to not the big time kind of mafia stories that we think of as symbolized by Godfather, but small time crookage, as it were, in America in the last century. So it's not only about his family, but it's also about the history of the mafia growing, how it came to be, and how it was allowed to sort of come out through the Depression years of America in the 20s. So it's a really interesting read. I'm halfway through it right now, and it's the way he writes is very familiar, and you get pulled in. Very interesting.
Yeah, because I remember the event last Tuesday. Groenberg, the moderator, he read quotes or parts from the books and then asked questions about them, and it almost, some parts felt almost like you were sucked into a novel. Shorter is really like a storyteller. It's not a dry history. It's life history, so to speak. And,
yeah, it really is, yeah, because he weaves, that's him weaving his own story of his family that he's discovering as well. And because he's actually a historian, the way he does his searching is very grounded in that. But of course, a lot of the stories come not only from, how would you call that, traceable pieces of paper. You could say, oh yeah, that's correct. It's also from stories from his older generation of his family and friends of. And then you get, it's hearsay or people who just know. So it's kind of interesting because you get then the sort of real stories, but they're also maybe embellished. But it gives a different, a human side. And he's a very human writer, very, very people writer. Very interesting.
Yeah.
What about another one for you, Tony? I want to call you Tony. Hey, Tony. Give me another one. I think I'm getting a bit connected to this Italian stuff.
Oh, please don't. Let's see.
Spaghetti bolognese, huh?
Oh God, this was a terrible idea. Okay. I'll start with a book that I'm currently reading. Of course, since I'm the sci-fi buyer, it's of course going to be science fiction. It's A Desolation Called Peace by, there we go, Arcady Martin. Which is actually the sequel to her first novel, Memory Called Empire, which won the, if I'm not mistaken, the Hugo Award last year, which is kind of like the Oscars for science fiction and fantasy novels. And this is just one of those instant classic space operas. Like, it kind of like feels a little bit like or has the vibe of Dune, so like a complex space opera with empires, different factions, all things going on, intrigue. But what she does really well is she really knows how to write characters and specifically dialogues, and that's always like, because sometimes you read a book and okay, now this is the writer constructing a world. And you got a bit of an info dump, and there's a lot of information in the books. Oh, there you go. Yeah. But she crafts it so exquisite that you just get sucked into the world. And it's just like a very nice read. Complex, but usually when things get really complex, you kind of like, oh, what's going on now? But this is just kind of like a tapestry of a space opera that you just want to take your time looking at. And it doesn't matter if it doesn't make any sense at first, because it is just wonderful to read, and it makes sense maybe after a third or second time. You just find new stuff, but also at the same time, it's also just very funny as well. It's not like haha funny, but there's kind of like even though it's space opera, it still has says a lot about the human condition, and there's a cool technology in it that is really throughout the story. So yeah, if you like space opera and if you like smartly written books, then I can really recommend this one. And this is the sequel to the.
I was going to say, I read that it's a sequel. So you read the first one, I guess.
Yeah.
Was it the first one won the Hugo Award?
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. And you can kind of read the second one, but yes, there's refer to a lot of what happened in the first one, so you really want to read the first one
first.
But then when you read Memory Called Empire, you probably want to just dive straight into the second one.
Could you read the second one without reading the first one? That's always a.
Yeah, I can, but you're just gonna miss like a whole lot.
Some of them you just can't, and
Yeah.
some of them, like Lord of the Rings, is really just like one book cut in half, and if you start the second one, they're running around a rock at the beginning of the second one. You don't understand a clue, you know. But this one, yeah, occasionally you can do that. Obviously, it's better to do it in sequence, but
yeah. Well, this one, there are like certain novels, fantasy novels, where you can kind of do that, because sometimes, like in fantasy or even science fiction, they skip to like a next generation. Like for example, Joe Abercrombie does that. Like he has this first trilogy, which I don't recall the name now, but it's like let's see. Blade itself, Before They Are Hanged, and Last Arguments of Kings. And he about a year and a half, he started a new trilogy set in the same world, but then like 30 years or 20 years later on, which focus on the next generation, so like the children of the heroes, characters.
First Law trilogy.
Yeah, and there we go. And even though it's good to have read the first trilogy, you can actually read that second trilogy without having read the first one, because it just it's
right. But that's the thing with trilogies, I guess. You can some trilogies you can't, but like the Star Wars trilogy, you can kind of get away with doing. I think people would understand that. So that's but okay, no, that's cool. I'm just going to see dart around here. I spoke with Martin, our colleague Martin. We've got Martin with 2 A's, and we've got Mutton with 1 A. And as an Englishman, that's always difficult to.
And Martijn.
And Martijn. Oh, yeah. But that's an IJ, so I can handle that.
Sure.
Although, again, as an Englishman, you probably go, Midtijn? I don't understand this. But anyway, Mutton, and not Martin. Martin on the ground floor by the American Book Center in Amsterdam. I asked him for 3 suggestions, and he gave me a whole list of books. So if you want to know more about art books in general, then you need to talk to Martin on the ground floor, because he will lead you through a nice path of very interesting books. The 3 he came up with, where are we? Tokyo, T-O-K-I-O-O, from Liam Wong. These are all modern art photography books. And then you've got I Can Make You Feel Good by Tyler Mitchell. I'm going to bring up the photos in a minute as well. And Unrealism, a new figurative painting by Jeffrey Deitch. And these are all really, really interesting different styles. Martin's picks because he thinks that they have some depth. You get a lot of artists where it's like you can't quite make head or tail of it. But even for me, it's not totally my thing. It's I could get into it and I could feel the quality of what they were trying to bring across, actually, and it worked in a book. Sometimes these art photography, for me, it just doesn't work at all in a book. And I even have my partner is busy with art books, so I see a lot of them come past my nose as well. So these ones are really really worthy to look at. But I would definitely suggest you, if you're into this sort of thing, and like I said, I'm going to find it in a minute, put it on the screen. Then you need to talk to Martin. Martin on the ground floor. Martin on the ground floor.
Good with the Tokyo one, actually, because usually I'm on the first floor, but I always want to go to Japan one day when we can fly again, maybe.
It's waiting for you, Tiemen.
So what's the Tokyo one about?
I'm going to have a look at Liam Wong and as the author, Tokyo. Yeah, here we go. I'm going to show this. Let me share my screen again.
God, I hope actually it's about Tokyo. Not that I'm like assuming now it's about Tokyo, but then it's completely something else.
No, it is Tokyo. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Contemporary Tokyo, but it feels very now, not 10 years ago even or anything like that. It amazes me that you can still take photographs and still make them relevant to the moment. And not just photographs that have been tweaked or photoshopped, but that there's a new technique with photography now. I suppose because people are becoming more au fait with computers and of course they are tweaked and stuff like that, but it's not like it's so in your face. It's like these, I don't know how to describe it, but it's definitely worth coming and having a look. That's the other thing with these art books. What I find is seeing a picture online it really doesn't give it justice
No,
sometimes.
no.
You have to feel it, because it's we're all book lovers. We know the feel of a book. There's nothing quite like it. And specifically when you're looking at pictures, looking at art, it's also the quality of the paper and the way it's bound, and it just gives that all lends the weight.
No.
Anyway, that's just one of them. Tiemen, you got any more?
I've got loads.
You got loads. You do one, and then I'm gonna mention.
Okay, well, let's go for the bizarre book of the week.
Go ahead.
Well, I saw this one and I already knew, like, okay, I have to read this this one. It's a book about books, but not any kind of books. This one is called The Dark Archives, which is about the history of what was it again? The science and history of books bound in human skin.
Ew.
That's yeah. Okay, just to be clear, we do not sell books bound in human skin. It's
I hope you've all eaten them already. So
yeah, we'll probably have some customers going, like, oh, I heard you guys sell
weird book of the week. Thank you, Tiemen, for that. Where did you find it?
Well, on the second floor in history books. It's but apparently, like, let's see, the author Megan Rosenblum is a librarian with a research interest in history of medicine and rare books. And apparently it's not that rare in history to have books bound in human skins. So what she does, she kind of like research or like discover the story behind all kinds of different famous books that were bound in human skin. And well, kind of like answers the question why, and well, who the people whose skin was used to bound this, and who did this. It's so it's yeah, it's just one of those interesting books, I guess, and it immediately attracted my attention, and I'm just gonna have a lot of fun reading this.
Concerned about working with you, Tony.
Tiemen. That's
Tiemen, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, it's following the mafia thing. That's what it is.
Oh God! All right. Yeah. So expect me to tell you all kind of gruesome stories in the coming weeks about grisly books. And,
is it on our staff picks page?
Yeah, I need to put it. Yeah.
Aha. Let me show the folks at home where they can find these books that we're talking about, because they might not know what the hell we're talking about otherwise. So let me just share my screen again. Just share my screen. So here we got the ABC Book Center, abc.nl. And if you go to, I've got to remember it now, highlights, then you can go into more, and then you should have AB staff picks. Where was it? I found it just a minute ago.
No, you need to go
under
down.
collections, not by subject.
Just the keywords, Luke.
Oh, what? Sorry, everyone's talking at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Say again?
I think it's under collections and not under subject, so you need to scroll down a bit more.
Yeah,
it's
kind of like when I'm explaining stuff to my grandma on the computer.
Oh.
Exactly. See what I have to put up with all day long?
Yeah.
Old man jokes. There we go. So I found it. It was down by collections. You're right. And then we've got all of the books that we're talking about, plus more. Like, there you go. Dark Archives in the middle there. That's a good one. And Liam Wong's in there. And The Candlekeep Mysteries, which is in fact the one I was thinking of, which you talked about. So there you go. We were on the same page there. And whilst we're here, I'll say Paris 2119 was something that was it's a graphic novel that Jitse suggested today.
Jitse is our graphic novel buyer.
He definitely is. Also on the first floor. It's kind of behind me, and then you go round a bit, and then you're on the first floor in the corner there. And it's originally French, Paris, and of course, bande dessinée is a very large understanding in France for a century or at least. But this is a modernized version, and it's a story of what he called future fantasy, which is again this modern idea of fantasy, but then it's set in the future, so it's science fiction fantasy, but it's together, which is kind of interesting. Originally brought out in French in 2119, and now available in English. So that came out just this last month. So that's something that you could check out. That's also very it looks really interesting. It's very that French style of the bande dessinée style as depicted on the front, but then with this modern story, because often bande dessinée, I have the idea of pictures, it's like in the middle of Africa, or it's set in the middle of the last century. It's always stories from the past. and this one is the future. It brings it up to date, really. So that's really nice. And whilst I'm here, actually, I wanted to go to the next thing, which is, I'll go back to ABC main page, is if you go to bargains, you're going to see, oh dear, here we go, lots and lots of Lonely Planets and travel books. Because our other colleague on the first floor is a bit first floor biased tonight, but we do have other colleagues on other floors. Max had the idea, because Max is looking after, among other things, the travel section.
Yeah, this is first floor Max, and he's the buyer indeed for the travel guides, and so I'm doing this this week, because well, as one knows, we're living through a pandemic, and that means that you have to stay at home and well, read lots of books. But yeah, travel. A lot of people have to cancel their vacations or not go on any vacations. So of course that also meant that people didn't need a lot of travel books.
But we had a lot left over. Yes.
Well, yeah, slightly. But Max decided, well, people still want to go and travel one day in the future. So he made a nice sale, which you can see here. And even though we can't travel now, you can still make a dream tour of the world, so to speak, by using these books.
Indeed. So it's basically all the books that are published up until the beginning of 2020. He decided to price down. So there's a shed load of books there. So you want to nose around there and grab as many as you like, because of course there's not too much changed, I imagine. The only thing is that probably some things have closed, but you're going to get an idea of where you want to go when the pandemic is over.
There we go. Yeah. Well, actually, but I still want to go to Berlin. That's it's probably not going to happen this summer, but no, like Berlin is one of my favorite cities to go to. And actually, like already the travel towards Berlin is always one of my favorite parts, because I don't go with the plane. I go with the train.
Yeah.
And it's about 6 to 8 hours. And it's just so nice, because then you can just sit down, you have a nice book. They sell beer on the train, so then you get to one of those, well, it's not like the Dutch beer, but like one of those German beers.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's not like I'm drunk on the train, by the way, but this is just nice.
No.
Yeah, no. You got your beer, you got your book, you got this beautiful country of Germany passing by, and then you arrive in Berlin. That's just like a very nice way to travel.
It certainly is. Yeah, I know what you mean. My partner lived in Berlin for 5 years, and that was about 6 years ago. And so I would go there more regularly and did exactly what you're saying. And it is very nice. The only time was one time I took my bike with me, and then they decided the train broke down. So I had to take all my bike and my stuff and move into another train and then a bus. And it was like a nightmare.
You're going to go on a bike towards, continue your travel on bike towards Berlin.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, turn left at the next whatever. But I got there. But it is. Yeah. And Berlin being so big, and it's got to, isn't it? It's a good city. So there you go. Go to Berlin. You don't need a Berlin book. Just talk to Tiemen and me. We'll put you straight. So I'll stop sharing there. We're coming up to 8 o'clock. Tiemen, have we missed anything out? Big things that we want to say.
Let's see. Well, one of the interesting things, and I'm not sure we can show that right now, but it's not a new book, but next month, I think the 23rd of April, is going to be the adaptation of the Netflix adaptation of Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo.
I see a certain Mrs. McGee is getting excited.
Yeah. So the I think that's the Grisha trilogy. That's a.
It's actually both. It's both the original Grishaverse trilogy as well as the Six of Crows duology. That they're sort of. It's like a crossover event series.
Yes. So
is it a bit like what they did? Because I think what we've seen on the and you guys in Den Haag have seen, they started. There was The Walking Dead, which was obviously a book series or a graphic novel series, and then the television series started. But then it went its own kind of way. It took some of the stories from the book, and then it went another way because it was a television series. And then of course Game of Thrones, which everybody knows, and that stuff in the book, which the TV series again started with the book and then kind of went its own way and took bits from the book and then became its own thing, because they very rightly, cleverly, and intelligently created it for television rather than just following the book. And I think that they hit on a formula which has been now taking on other forms, so that they take a thing like Bardugo, and then they take the idea, but then they can shape it for television. So from what you're saying, I
don't know if that is what this is as well, because the difference I think with The Walking Dead and Game of Thrones is that those weren't finished when the television series started. And I mean, Game of Thrones is still not finished.
Nope.
But this trilogy is done, it's complete. And then there's another duology that is sort of set in the same universe, I think roughly at the same time, like a bit later, but there's not like ages between it or anything.
But I was actually, because I'm only read Six of Crows, and that one is the duology. And the funny thing is that it's set in partly set in the city of Rotterdam, which is obviously based on Amsterdam in the 17th century. So it's fun to like read a fantasy novel and then suddenly see like, there's Dutch names. But I watched the trailer of the Netflix show, and it looked smashing. Like usually you think like, okay, well, what's in the book? Are they going to be able to recreate it on the screen? But this looked absolutely gorgeous. This looked like a high budget movie, and I love the fact that they got all kinds of British actors again, because I always feel like for fantasy you want
to have one or two British actors going, I say what things like that. Yes, but she does time me. Even I was impressed at it. Tiemen showed me, and usually I'm like, another one. Dune, the new Dune film. I looked at it and went, okay. So I'm not totally, but this one, I went, actually looks okay. So there you go. Even for you non-science fiction fantasy people, that might be kind of interesting.
Yeah, but it's just a question for ears, because I saw that one of the characters in the Shadow and Bone television show will be Brekker, which is actually the main character in Six of Crows.
Yes.
But is he already like a character in the Shadow and Bone trilogy?
No.
Books? No. Okay, so they're kind of like...
I mean, presumably he exists, but he's not in the series at all, because they don't really go anywhere except like the one country at all. They don't really go to other places in the world, which they do very much do in the Six of Crows series. But a few of because I think only so far the teaser trailer has dropped.
Yeah.
And there's a few of the Six of Crows characters in the teaser as well, but I didn't get, because I hadn't read the original Grishaverse trilogy. I didn't understand the trailer at all, so I was like, shit, I need to read this trilogy because I don't know what's going on. And now I have read it, and now I'm even more excited about the series.
Okay, because the story of Shadow and Bone is set in this magical world, kind of like inspired by Russian culture, or like Russian history of the 19th century-ish. But basically you got the Grisha, which are people with special powers. And what I get it from the country is kind of like, surrounded by this darkness, and they go into
it's divided actually. There's this like weird sort of phenomenon that is, it's basically like darkness, and it's full of monsters, and it divides the country into two halves.
Like America. Oh, sorry.
Which?
Well, that's a very political.
Sorry, a bit of a. I don't know, just...
Wow. Yeah, no. So it's about but it is a very political book as well. It's very much about alliances and relationships between different countries, and also the countries are very obviously all based on actual countries, which is fun. Like Rotterdam is very much Amsterdam, and then Ravka is very much Russia, and they're all kind of tied in together. But it's a very political book, but it's also very much a coming of age kind of YA-like journey. I like it.
It actually crosses a couple of different genres and sections in the shop anyway. Yeah. It's going to be interesting. To see how it pans out. Indeed. So you're excited. Team's excited. I'm even excited. I'm going to give it a go. Oh my God! Might even read the books for it. Who knows?
What?
Crazy stuff like that.
I just hope we have enough books when the television show hits, because that when the Witcher TV show came out, I thought I had enough books. I did not have enough books. That's like, it was just crazy. Like everyone in that weekend, like, do you have the Witcher book? We just sold the last one.
Yeah. Ride the wave of these things. We've got to get them in there.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I'm gonna do one. I'd like to do a little section of the music books from Big Macs, because we have 2 Maxes in the shop, and then we'll maybe round up. If you can think of anything else, team, and for what's going on in the ABC shop, maybe for the next month, that might be handy. Yep. Big Macs on the ground floor. You can't miss him because he's really big. He's tall. He's got a tail. He could be in a science fiction fantasy novel, I'm sure, but he decides that he likes music. He's a resident music geek, well known and respected for it. He came up with A Little Devil in America by Abdurraqib. I tried my best. I'm not sure if that's how you say it, but he's a poet, and he's won different awards and so forth. A modern poet, and it's about rap music in America. It's going to be It's going to be dropping soon, man, dude. I don't. Whatever. Anyway, it's coming very shortly in the shop, and that was his new book release. Look out! And the other one for all those fuddy-duddies like me who know who Gary Newman is. Gary Newman.
Who's Gary Newman?
He did. Look at your blankness. I can't believe this. Cars, our friends.
The movie. Cars, the movie.
I give up.
Because I like that movie. That was
very good. There's nothing to do with that.
No. Oh, okay.
In Cars, do. Where's my synthesizer? I'll do a version. Anyway, in 1970, he had his first hit in 1979 on Top of the Pops. He was the first synthetic pop band to go to #1 in England. And he started a generation. Obviously, Kraftwerk was doing it in Germany, and they had a huge influence in electronic music in the 70s, and that influence came through. But he was the first one to grab a synth in the studio and make this big farty noises, and everyone went, "What was that?" And that started a whole new generation. So Gary Newman has written his autobiography called Evolution. How clever. Absolutely stunningly clever, just like his music. And he looks like a pop star as well. I'm going to have to share my screen just to show you what he looks like. Otherwise, you're just not going to understand really the power of this man. You talk about Shadow and Bone, but there's nothing quite
this
like
is what
seeing.
really matters.
Look, I mean, it says it all, doesn't it? He could be in a science fiction fantasy movie.
Yeah, or it could be like the nephew of David Bowie or someone like that.
Of course. Old Dave was doing the old synthesizer stuff in the 70s in Berlin. In fact, let us bring it back. He did his Berlin trilogy of albums in the late 70s, and Gary Newman hit in 79. So he would have been definitely influenced by Mr. B doing his stuff. So there you go. I'm going to shut the hell up, and Tiemen's going to tell us about what's going on in the shop at this month. Go ahead.
Okay, no pressure.
Put you on the spot, yes.
Well, I guess like the biggest announcement is not so much what happens in this shop, but what happens in our new shop in LEIDSCHENDAM, because we just opened up a new shop.
Yes. Absolutely.
So well,
actually, maybe Booty Pants can, because you've been there.
I've been, yeah. Has anyone else been?
I have not yet. No.
Okay, nice.
There you go. Some of them.
See,
Giorgio and Clark have been as well.
I know they were here today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's in this big fancy Westfield Mall of the Netherlands, which is recently opened. It's very cool. It's genuinely, like, I walked around for a bit, and it's also because it's brand new. But also because it's just so nice. It's so fancy. Everything is so like well thought out and well placed, and it's just it's just really pretty. Everything's really pretty. So we have a small third location there that has been open for a week now. Yeah. Wow.
Just one thing. Is it on 2 levels or is it 1 level?
No, it's 1 level.
1 level.
It's okay. It's kind of narrow but deep. It's kind of like a drawer.
Like a drawer.
Yep.
But bigger than a drawer, right?
A large drawer, a very large drawer. Yeah.
A very large drawer full of books.
One question is, how can you get there?
Well, there's a tram stop just like right in front of the door.
So from Den Haag, you can get a tram?
Yes.
And if you come from Amsterdam, how's the best way to do that?
I think probably, well, there's a big car park in front. You can park your bike there. And otherwise,
I can ride my bike from Amsterdam then. That's a good idea.
I mean, look, if you're riding your bike to Berlin, then you can ride your bike to LEIDSCHENDAM.
Just go the other direction.
Exactly. Yeah.
Can you actually show a picture of the shop on the website, Luke?
Yeah. Where do we have the picture of the shop?
Social media.
Social media. Oh, that's also a possibility. Yeah.
Social media. Yes. Let's do. It should be on Facebook, shouldn't it?
Sure.
Okay. I just plug into Facebook. That's on my one, and we go ABC American Book Center.
We're professionals.
We certainly are. Well, we're going to do it. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show you where we are on the Barbie.
Was that your Australian?
That was kind of weird, mate. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. So ABC. There you go. Oh, Clara and the Sun. Oh, we didn't talk about Clara and the Sun. Also a classic. In
Well,
a new classic.
New book by a.
I tell you, when I was looking at it, I found, I'm going to sound probably stupid to the people who know this, but he wrote Remains of the Day.
Yes.
And which is, firstly, it's like 30 odd years ago, so he's been writing a long time. But also from his surname, I kind of wouldn't guess that somebody would write that. So that's a bit biased on me, maybe a bit stupid on me. But...
Oh, good lord! That's he's British, you know. Of course, like he has. I think Ishiguro has a Japanese father or mother.
Okay,
but
I don't know anything about him. Yeah.
Okay, but he grew up in England. That's like all his books basically are about the UK. Especially like the social class system going on there.
That's it. It's something.
Because of course, like Remains of the Day, with a wonderful movie with Anthony Hopkins. That's shot it, yeah.
No, it's Incognito.
Incognito. But also like a science fiction novel.
Hey, there it is.
There we go. There we got the shop. Yeah, it looks wonderful.
It's really nice. It's like this row of. That sort of staggered small stores.
Yay!
Oh, there we go, celebrating.
Everyone enjoying it. Yeah. It's very nice. When I saw it, it was like, oh, that's very airy. Because also, of course, we've got our other bookshop in Amstelveen, which we haven't mentioned, but that was opened last year, and Tiemen was spearheading that thing. Which at the moment it's still closed because that mall is not yet open, is it? Or it's slightly open, but not.
Well, like. Some of the shops are open there. The bookshop itself is not yet open because we've been mostly busy with this shop. But we're kind of like exploring now how we can reopen it there. Because of course, like as you know, everything has to be done by appointment, so that makes it a little bit of a challenge. But probably in the near future, Amstelveen will also be open again.
It will be there. We have that. But this is the new jewel in the crown. And
look at that! Look who's commenting, saying it's beautiful.
Oh yeah, Haley, and also Barry.
Barry.
Yeah.
These are old colleagues.
Yes, there you go. Old colleagues enjoying it. So go check that out. That's kind of nice. So with that, I think Tiemen. Hey, Tony, I think over there we got a Tony, we got a Book Pants. It's a good.
Oh, stop.
Oh God, I hope it's not going to be like a running gag, or like every week you're going to give me like a different national name or something like that. Like next time it's going to be Scandinavia or something like that.
You're handing me these ideas on a plate.
Oh, there we go.
Next time it's going to be Toby or something like that. Tinnitus, something like that. Anyway. So Tiemen, what do you think? Have you got anything else for us, or should we close it up?
No, but pretty good. Well, we can do one more book just because.
One more book. Okay, we'll squeeze one more in for this one.
Squeeze it in.
And we'll come back next
time line or something. No, like I always have a slight weakness for self-help books. I don't know why. It's just like the idea like you can improve yourself and then being very motivated.
Can I say anything about that? Or I'm going to, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, never go to. But this book is just also, it just looks very, very nice. So this book is called Hello Habits by Fumio Sasaki, who is actually known for his first book. What was it again? About minimalism.
Hold it up. Hold it up, Tiemen.
Oh, sorry. Was I Hello Habits? Yeah, and it just looks so nice. So his first book was about minimalism. So how you can live life with a minimum of objects and items. And his next book is about how to create good habits and how to get rid of bad habits. And I always earlier this year I started reading Atomic Habits by James Clear, which is also a self-help book, which is very nice because it basically gives you like a handout. Well, this is how habits work, and this is kind of like the tips and tricks and the science behind it, how you can make habits that actually work for you, instead of being stuck with you get the book. Yeah.
I think I have. I've got another one for you as well.
Look, you're kind of.
Go ahead. Carry on.
Okay. Yeah, there you go.
Complimentary one for you.
Okay, right. So I started one, having read Atomic Habits, and it's been very helpful so far, especially like in lockdown, where everything is depressing when you're locked up. I thought, well, why not read this one? Because the cover just feels nice. It looks nice, and yeah, those kind of like interesting tips. So yeah, for everyone.
Give us one tip. Give us one tip that you've got in the book.
Okay, well, let's see. Oh yeah, there was one thing, and that's actually a good one for me. Is that he talks about how Twitter is a real time sink for him. Yeah. And he kind of realized, okay, what is it that makes me check Twitter? It's just that he just likes to be able to get that fix of just checking a tweet. So basically, what he does, he just made a fake Twitter button on his smartphone, but that just opens up a notes folder. So every time he has the urge to tweet, he just opens up that note folder. It gives him the idea of being on Twitter, but he just writes his tweet and then logs off again. So it just stays there. No one sees it, and he won't get distracted by likes and things like that. But he still gets his Twitter fix. So
have you done that yet? Have you implemented?
No, not yet.
Okay, I want to see if that works for you.
Just for reading, not for actual.
Okay,
no, but that's the interesting thing with habits. Successful habits is like figuring out what works for you, and then.
Absolutely.
So yeah, because like it's always feeling like from willpower. But more and more like the science thing, no, actually willpower, you can't willpower yourself through obstacles and things like that. So you have to be smart, not strong.
You know what? I think there's oh, I got a feedback. Willpower, yeah. And what was the other thing that put me off? You need structure. I mean, you can be strong in your mind, but willpower is kind of your head saying, "Oh, I can do this." But also, which is where this book comes in, which I'm going to show you in a second, is that we think we can hold everything in our minds as well. I have the feeling when I speak to my partner or friends of mine, and I test them on it a little bit, they're like, "Oh yeah, but I can remember this," or "Oh damn, I'm not remembering everything." Well.
That's the bullet journal.
The bullet journal one. Yep.
Yeah.
I've got this one. Yes, there you go. Nods of approval. I found this last year in December, and it's brought me to another level. And basically, what it is another level. Oh, you can't see it. It's gone.
No. It's.
Well, anyway, that one.
Are you evolving, Luke?
With balding or with holding? Both, I think. Writing stuff down, and I had a to-do list book, which I've done for years, which you can kind of see there, and I've integrated it with what he's done. So for me, it was, and I think most of us have some form of book that we write stuff down in, but it's like a daily thing. There you go, you got it. And the bullet journal, for me, has helped me to structure it to another level, where not only it's the to-do list, but it's other lists that I go, oh, that. Like Tim was saying, tweeting, I might have a thought or a brainwave or a great idea. It doesn't fit on a to-do list, so make another list. So I have a separate page with all my thoughts and great ideas. And the other thing about it was having an index. at the beginning.
Oh, yeah,
It seemed totally alien because it's like, I just do my, but I did it. And now with numbering the pages and you write down those numbers of the pages, I can find things back. And that's like, the more I do, you know, it's getting thicker and thicker. It's like, where is that page? Oh, I'll go to the index. So it becomes more and more useful as I use it. And then I see why it's there. But now I can dump every idea I have goes in here because I know I can find it back, which does not happen with your telephone, because I put it into my Google Keep and then I put an idea in, but it's not dated and I can't find it back necessarily. And I've got even put it into sections, but I don't go back and check it because it's inside my phone and it's like, oh, I've got to do that again. Somehow writing it down, and we're all book lovers, I think it's this idea of it's a real book and you just pick it up and, you know, it's just easier. And I love this. I've gotten back to this. So between Atomic Habits and the bullet journal method, they're a good combination, I think. So yeah, let's finish on that because we warbled on quite a long while.
Yep.
First of all, we've left things out, but we'll do that next month. So thanks for all of you guys for coming. This is very nice that you want to help us start this new venture. And any tips and tricks and suggestions, please let us know. You can send us an email.
Yep.
And
we'll be here again next month, I guess, like the third Friday of April, I guess.
The last Friday of each month, basically. Yeah. Let's have a look just to let you know. That would be. It's always good to let you know.
April 30th.
April 30th. Yes, you're right. Friday, April 30th. Never wrong. Booty pants is never wrong. New boots and panties. Oh no, that's another band. That's the Enduring and the Blockheads, but that's another story. Anyway, I would love to say thank you for coming, and we'll see you all next time.
Bye bye.
Ciao.